everybody. Welcome back to the Geriatric. Nope.
Keep that in. Keep it in.
No. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Geriatric Millennials. I'm Beth.
And I'm Jayme.
We're just two oldish, youngish ladies doing a new little series. I'm very excited for this.
Beth, so I don't even know what it is.
I know.
And
So
that's part of why you're so excited, because you're going to surprise
Spring
me.
it on you. And it's the best thing ever because you have to use your memory. And
Why would you do this to me?
So a while back, I was talking to my intern and we were talking about Britney Spears and like she knew but didn't know. And then people were just throwing out
who she
stuff.
was?
Yeah. And so
How old is your intern?
she's 17. So like,
wait, what is that? Is that Gen? That's not Gen Alpha. What is it?
It's the tail end of Gen Z, I think.
Okay.
So we were just talking about different things, and in the room, I was the oldest. I was a geriatric millennial, and everybody else was millennials. And anyway, it was really interesting because people were throwing things out, and she just didn't know it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. And I was talking about another person, and like, it'd be so fun to just like reminisce and try to remember some of the stuff. And I'm like, what we're gonna do is I'm picking a year, and we're just gonna. I have like a list of things that happened that year.
Shoot.
And we have to try to remember.
I'm going to be terrible at
what
this.
happened. I don't think so.
You mean what happened in the world or in pop culture?
Pop culture, anything we can remember.
I was really out of the loop, Beth. This is going to be perfect. I was in Belize. Okay?
Not for the whole time.
Okay.
So
I'm already like panicking, like I'm going to suck at this.
The first year we're doing is 1999 in honor of our graduating year because it's graduation season.
Girl, I graduated in 98.
Girl, why are you so much older than me?
Shut up.
We have the
I'm
same.
not so much.
We were born in the same year. How did you grow? How did you graduate in 98?
I graduated in 98. My birthday's in June. I don't know.
Oh, that's so weird.
You graduated in 99?
Yeah.
No,
Oh, we're totally different. Well, anyway, we're still doing 99.
Okay, 99.
You would have been in college age.
Yes.
We would have been the same age, yet you were out living life and I was in high school.
Yeah.
So anyway, I have a list of stuff. And then I dug out my old yearbook, which is...
Oh, my.
Yeah. And because it has in the back a bunch of stuff. So
From that year,
like what was popular. But I also just did a quick like search.
Can I see your picture?
I will show you my picture eventually. I looked crazy. Crazy.
I doubt that.
So we're going to take a little trip down memory lane and see how much we remember from that era of time.
Well, you mean how much I remember?
I made a list, but I don't remember all the stuff necessarily. We're going to just see if we can do a baby deep dive into some of this stuff.
Okay.
So speaking of Britney Spears, one of the big pop culture like moments from 1999 was when Britney Spears was on the cover of Rolling Stone.
Okay.
Do you remember this?
No. I don't remember her being on the cover. What I remember was her music video, Baby One More Time.
Okay. So this is like in that era, and it was a scandal. It was like caused a scandal. I think she was 17 at the time, and she's like, you know, kind of dressed suggestively, and she's holding a Teletubby. And it was just this whole conversation of over-sexualizing girls and whatever. But at the time, I just thought like, oh my gosh, she looks so good because I was, 18. So were you a Britney Spears girl in that era?
Okay. First of all, thank you for not saying girly.
Okay. Because we weren't girlies back then.
We were, but you're like, you're Britney Spears girly. Britney Spears girl. Okay. Just thank you for that. I don't think I was. I don't know what you mean. Do you mean like a fan?
Yeah, did you like our music? Well,
yes and no. But I didn't like. I don't think I ever had her CD.
Oh, okay. I didn't have her first one, but I had her second one.
So, but I knew the songs that they played on the radio.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know. I guess not really, but I like knew who she was. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'm having flashbacks to all the girls that came out at the time, like Christina Aguilera, Jessica Simpson, Willa Ford. Like there's a bunch of them. Mm-hmm, and that music was so fun. Mm-hmm. Like, Willa Ford's like song, I Wanna Be Bad is such a bop.
I'm sorry. I don't even know who that is.
I need you to...
Willa Ford?
Willa Ford. She was kind of like, again, she's like blonde.
Yeah, I don't
cute,
know who she is.
Whatever. I think she only had one or two like mainstream hits during that era. But like that song though is such a good summer, like driving in your car. Cause she's just like, I wanna be bad. And it's just like ridiculous.
What was it called?
I Wanna Be Bad.
Oh. Oh, there it is. It says it's 2001.
Oh, just kidding. It was that.
But maybe that's not.
It's that era though of like 1990, 2000, 2001, 2002 of like all of these like typically like blonde girls came out with songs.
Yes.
I mean, Andy Moore was in there. That was a little later. But yeah, it's really
I'm going
good.
to see if I recognize it. I'm sorry if I'm disappointing you with
okay.
my lack of pop culture awareness.
No, we have a bunch more to go. So
okay, good.
Another big thing that year, the Y2K computer panic.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Do you have any memories of that?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The world was ending.
It was
because we were also, well, I don't know about you, but I was also immersed in like Christian culture where there was like quite a few people who got on this bandwagon of like, it was end times and the world was going to end. And it was like the rapture was going to happen and all this stuff where like some people are going to be scooped up and taken to heaven and the rest of us are going to hell and we're all going to be left behind. And like all this, yeah, just I remember the turn of the century and where I was. Do you remember?
I remember where I was too, yeah.
Okay.
Where were you? Were you on a beach with a bunch of hot Frenchmen?
Yes. So
That's right.
I had some friends that came down to Belize and we spent Christmas and New Year's there.
Yeah.
And then we were on this little island. And yeah, we stayed at the cheapest place, which was a hammock with a box underneath the hammock where you could store your stuff under like a thatched roof cabana, just with a bunch of hammocks strung around. And there was like me and my friends. And then there was like 4 Frenchmen from France also.
Sounds real rough.
Yes. And my mom came. She was there. I think she was trying to protect us.
Oh, geez.
But I remember that night we had called family to wish them Happy New Year. And we were on a payphone.
Perfect. Were you on a calling
card? With a calling card.
Yep.
And the world did not end.
It did not.
It did not end. We all woke up the next day after partying all night. It was totally fine. It was more than fine. It was awesome.
Well, and for anybody that was not around during that time, the fear was that when the clock switched over and the year now was 2000, there was something, the computers were not programmed right or something to like deal with that, and then it was going to throw everything into chaos and mayhem, and it didn't.
No.
I myself, I'm not a New Year's Eve person, and so all my family was gone. I was back visiting from college, and I think I got invited to a New Year's Eve party. I'm like, I'm not going, because shockingly, I've been this way since forever.
Since
just like
you were 20 years old.
I only do what I want to do, and I was at home by myself, and I was watching The Godfather, and my friend came over. And I was looking and we were thinking, it was like, it wasn't quite New Year's. Like she was going to go to a party anyway. And I was just like, she left and I was by myself. It's probably 11 o'clock at night. I'm like,
did you just go to bed?
No, I was just like, I don't even think I have cash. Like I have nothing. If something were to go awry right now, I have no water bottles. I mean, because back in the day, we didn't have water bottles. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't remember having a water bottle until like well into my 20s, like a plastic bought it at the store water bottle. And I just remember being like, I don't have any provisions really, but I'm just going to watch The Godfather and go to bed. So by like midnight, 15, I was out. So anyway, but yeah, Y2K was a trip. How the lead up to that, there's just so much panic and fear. And I think it was about that time too, I started reading the Left Behind series. It was like in my early 20s, which that was its own.
That wasn't helpful either. I don't think I actually read those.
Oh my gosh. It was, I was
should.
so into it. I read the entire adult series and then I watched the Kirk Cameron film when it came out and I purchased it on DVD and I watched it quite a bit. And I'm just like, now I watch, or I wouldn't watch now.
Should this be in our cringe?
It's definitely a cringe moment. But yeah, anyway, that was like a whole thing. Another whole thing was the birth of Napster. Do you know what Napster is?
Wasn't that like the where you could like record, you could get music.
You could download music.
You could get music, yeah.
Yeah. So like I remember that coming out my senior year. And like there was an AV guy that was helping us with like a show that we were putting on at the school. And I needed a clip of music. He's like, oh, I'll just go to Napster and download it. And like most people still didn't have internet in their houses. Like not everybody just had standard dial up. Use the modem.
No,
music.
Not at all. I remember going to the library. To log on to the internet.
Yeah. So like the fact that you could download music, was like what? How?
Yeah. What does it even mean?
What does that mean to download music? And then what would I do with it? You know, because it's like, we were lucky to have a CD player in your car. You know, like
exactly.
There wasn't even Bluetooth. There was nothing. It was a cassette or a CD. Like, anyway.
Can I just tell you something really funny?
Yes.
So this was so cute. My my kids just recently, they had So we have some cassettes, like books on cassettes that are in Spanish that someone had given us. And we also have a piano that is as a keyboard.
Oh, yeah.
And it has
a tape deck?
No, but okay, well, hold on. It has like a place to put in like a floppy disk. Like this is an old.
Oh my God. Like a 3x5 like diskette
I think
thing?
so.
Okay.
Yes. Like a little, like it's pretty old. The piano works great. I've never even paid attention to that little feature. Well, my kids noticed it. So they ran and got the cassette and tried to put the cassette in. And I'm like, no, this
Good try.
It doesn't, that's not how this works. This is even before that. Like no, it wasn't before that.
Cassette was before it.
Cassette was before
the
floppy.
diskette. Yeah.
Is that what they're called? A diskette? Floppy disk?
Diskette. Well, because a floppy disk also, there's different sizes. So there's the bigger ones with the big hole that are black and wiggly. And then there's like the smaller ones that came out with like 3x5 that
I think
were
it's
harder.
Probably that one.
Yeah.
Because I think that's why they thought a cassette could fit in there.
Yeah.
Which it could not. But anyways, sorry, that was a side note
That is
story.
amazing,
but it was
though.
so cute. I was just like,
Oh my God.
they don't know. They didn't know what was meant to go into that slot.
Oh my gosh.
They've never seen it before.
That's so humbling.
I know.
Well, I never downloaded music with Napster because I was always a Mac user, and like a lot of that stuff didn't come out for Mac. You could only use it on PC. And then I remember like maybe like a few years later, LimeWire came around and they had a Mac option, which LimeWire was like I think by that time Napster may have been already shut down because they got like in so much trouble. I remember when I was in college hearing a story about someone that had like the music industry went after like normal people for downloading, pirating music.
Right, you weren't supposed to do that.
Supposed to do it. And like they were like tens of thousands of dollars of fines and just all of this stuff, which is so weird when you think about now because everything is streaming now.
I know.
You usually, I mean, most people don't even own any, they only rent their music, right? Because you're not buying it from iTunes. They're just doing it on Spotify,
like
Pandora.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just like so weird how that all went down. And I was so afraid of it. I used to go to the library and I would burn CDs from the library.
That's kind of genius though.
Yeah, I got a lot of great music that way. And then I lost a lot of it, which was kind of annoying. But what are you going to do? You know?
Right.
Like, what are you going to do? Another pop culture thing that was pretty big was The Matrix.
Oh,
came out that year. And that was like so groundbreaking, which is weird to think about now.
It was because it was just like, whoa, like it was the concept.
Yeah.
The concept was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember watching the first things when like the girl jumps in the air and it freezes and then the cameras go all around her. And like, again, there wasn't CGI like it is today. Like they had a camera that spun around. I remember watching on MTV like Making the Matrix or something. And they had like a camera set up where it was like, it just went around in a circle. It was all these cameras. That's the memory. It could be wrong. And then when they were laying back and the bullets were flying over them and just seeing how they did that, I just remember my mind was blown. Like I was like, this is incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, I've watched it again in recent years and it kind of holds up. But it's just like, that was just like such a defining movie. The other one was The Blair Witch Project.
Yes, which I did not actually watch because I didn't want to because I didn't want to be scared.
I was with a bunch of friends in a movie theater watching that. And I like scary movies back then more so than now. But it's like I get embarrassed because it's like I don't want to jump or like show fear.
Yeah.
And that movie was it was just like you're always on the edge.
Well, the format of it was so unique. Like there hadn't been movies made like that where it was as if somebody was just recording it like we do with our cell phones now.
Yeah.
Like it was the first movie like that.
Yeah.
And it was like, it just made it seem so real.
Found footage movies had not been done. And then to come find out later, a lot of what happened was improvised by the actors. And like the production would go and purposely do stuff to scare them, to get reactions and stuff, which is just like, I mean, I know that happens in movie storytelling, but it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
Another wow from 1999, the Euro came out. That didn't really impact me much.
Okay, are you talking about the money or are you talking about the food? Oh, okay.
Not the euro, the euro currency.
Okay, like the currency.
But I remember that it bothered me because I was like, oh, I didn't get to, I like to collect foreign money. And so some of that money I could never get now, like in circulation, right? Like you could probably buy it on eBay, but I remember at the time.
They don't have it anymore? I'm confused.
The euro, yes, but like it replaced some people's currency, right?
I see what you're saying.
So it's just like, the Dutch mark is gone now, I think. Come at me in the comments, but whatever. In sad stuff, do you remember like Columbine happened?
Oh, I do.
That was like the first major school shooting that was like televised.
That was horrible.
I just remember being like in my biology class, and we had it on the TV, which I don't know what it is about, like, hey guys, 9/11's happening. Let's turn it on for the children, turn it off. Turn it off. So yeah. But I just remember watching it, like live footage of it. And it was just like
it was so awful.
It was so awful. And just a few years earlier, I remember seeing like a kid at school with a gun and not even thinking about it.
Yeah, it shook. It made me just, I think it stole some of my innocence, because it made me just like think like, what? Like this happened?
Mm-hmm.
And like, how could that happen?
Yeah.
I just had lived a very sheltered life.
Well, yeah, it broke the innocence, and you can't get it back now. And now look at where we're at, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that got me during that time was when Matthew Shepard was killed.
Oh, I don't know that one.
He was a kid, a gay college student in Wyoming. And
he was targeted.
Because
he was gay.
Like brutally killed because he was gay. And it was like, I think it was one of those defining moments of like, I mean, awful tragedy, horrible, but I think it was a defining moment of like, we need to do something about like how we treat people.
Bringing it into the spotlight.
About how these hate crimes are really happening. And it's like, you think you're safe, and like people are literally just targeting people based on, who they love. And it's like, it's just wild. And so so sad. And I just remember that being like so impactful. This was also when Clinton got impeached.
Mm-hmm.
And that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I did not have sexual relations with that girl. That's all I remember about it. I was not paying attention to politics at the time.
Yeah, I wasn't either.
Yeah.
And plus I lived in Canada, so I was like,
oh yeah, so I don't know what's going on with Canadian politics.
Yeah.
Sorry. I just know that like, I just remember feeling bad for Monica Lewinsky. I do remember like the general like slut shaming that happened, and like people talking about her in such a way, and just being like weirded out by it, but not having the like experience or language to like what's going on.
Right.
And then years later be like, oh my gosh, the power dynamic. And now we see stuff like that and we're like, we
can call it out for what it actually is.
But like, I just think like, especially like in the late 90s and early 2000s when we were like coming up, you just wouldn't think about like, I remember I had a girlfriend in our senior year. She was 18 dating a sheriff's deputy. So, I mean, he was at least in his 20s.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's disgusting.
Yeah. It doesn't seem appropriate.
There was allegedly one of my friends, like, I'll just say it. There was one of my friends that I went to high school with, and literally right after we graduated. So like, we're still like 1999, maybe 2000. And like, she was getting hit on by one of our teachers that we just left.
Wrong.
And I'm just like, he was and he was like the cool teacher.
No.
And I was just like, you are disgusting. And like, everybody's fooled by you because you look a certain way and you act a certain way, but you're disgusting.
Yeah, that's a no.
Yeah.
Beth, I think that I was in the Tri-Cities the summer that you graduated.
Are you serious?
Because I came here to the Tri-Cities when I was 19 for the summer only. And that was the first time I ever came to the Tri-Cities. And I worked at a church for the summer. And
that would have been really cool if we would have met.
I know. And that was, 1999.
That's wild. That's so weird. Life is weird how like our paths totally could have crossed too.
I know.
Maybe just at like a Wendy's, We're getting Frosties and I just saw you cross the way. I'm like, look at that girl. And then I kept it moving.
I mean, it could have.
I don't know. It probably didn't, but that's so weird. Yeah. One more 90s things that I really enjoyed was you remember how they had like the Beatles invasion in the 60s?
Mm-hmm.
Like, remember like the Latin invasion of music, pop culture, like Ricky Martin, Livin' La Vida Loca.
Enrique Iglesias?
Yes.
Yes, please.
J-Lo before we knew.
Like, extremely good looking.
Yeah. Although
Enrique Iglesias?
Okay. Enrique, though, in recent years on the TikTok.
I'm not watching TikTok. What?
I know. But they show him singing and it's very different.
Well, I'm talking about 2000.
I'm talking about
1999, 2000, 2001, whatever. Whenever that was.
Yeah.
That.
Was he Bailamos?
Probably.
Yeah.
Was it him? Do you know who he is, right?
Like, duh.
Okay.
He had the mole.
Yes.
I was like, Livin' La Vida Loca had a chokehold on us. Like, that song, when it came on, you could not help but like shake your hips and just like gyrate in ways you never thought you could. I remember when I was 19, So it's still actually 1999, I think. Yes. My friends and I we were up at Western Washington University in Bellingham, Washington, and it's right by the border. So it's like an hour something drive. I don't remember. We'd cross the border to go party because they had clubs over there. And you only had to be 19. And so we'd all turn 19. And so we go to this club, and I had never been to a club before, and we got shots. I had never had a shot before. We're in business casual. I am wearing black flared pants. And I'm wearing a white button-up shirt because that was the look. They're bringing that back right now on Instagram.
We were talking about this before, about that like business
casual
look.
They call it I think they call it office siren is the new name for it. And like there's all these millennials coming on being like, girls, we did this before. You do not want to be wearing that to the club.
No, you don't.
But I was wearing that to the club, and we were in Canada, and it was the weirdest club because it was split, and half the club was like kind of like more like rock music, you know, like frat boy music, and the other half was like hip hop music and then like Latin music. And I just remember we were dancing, and it was like 4 girls, and these 4 guys like came around us, and I got the one that was super tall. He is probably 6'4", and they come up behind us, and like the way they captured us, right? So now we have nowhere to go because they're behind us, and they're starting to work on us, and I'm like trying to dance, and my shirt's coming up, and then he's trying to pull it down for me too because I was feeling uncomfortable. But then all of a sudden he's like gyrating, and like, sir, your crotch is just grinding into my head. We are not the pair. Okay. And then finally, like, we all had to save each other and like pull each other out of that. Like, get away from us. We were just trying to have a girls' night in our business casual wear. Yeah. Okay. Just some like, just 4 19-year-old hotties straight out of, you know, admin life or something. Yeah. So wild.
Oh, that's funny.
It was good times. Yeah. The main things I remember from like 1999 were that gas was like, when I was filled up my tank, it was 89 cents a gallon.
Wow.
That we would just like drive around aimlessly. Like I remember going to the movies so much more, and it was like you couldn't pick your seat, so it just felt like an event. I just spent a lot of time like listening to music with friends, and none of us had cell phones still. You always had to call landlines or page people and then try to find payphones.
Well, even trying to like I'm trying to remember how I navigated going to new places and stuff, because how did we even do that?
Well, I remember like we did like a dance team. I was on the dance team, and we did a prank thing for new people. So we had to find their houses, and my mom made us maps. Like she looked in an actual map and told us she made her own map quest of like drive here, drive here, drive here.
Yeah. I remember people doing that for me too.
Yeah.
And like
you had to just know.
You have to like turn left on the name of the street. And like
you had to know the names. It was so hard.
It was what we get right now, but it wasn't instant. It was like we had to make it instead of an app.
It was so much more time intensive.
Oh my gosh. And then I remember printing like later, a couple of years later, like printing everything off. We'd have literal pages and pages of directions.
Which is wild when you think about it.
It is.
Again, it was so weird because we had technology, but not fully.
Yeah.
It was like half and half.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I just remember I spent a lot of time on like online chat rooms and like talking to boys online. And
who you think were boys.
No, there was like, again, thank the heavens above, I did not have a web camera or a digital camera. There are no pictures of me anywhere from that era, like, you know, in a bad way, because I'm sure I would have been like, yes, I'll send you this or that. And yes, I'm realizing now, like, oh, you were probably a 45-year-old man.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. You thought they were boys your age.
No. I knew after a while they weren't boys my age, but I just pretended like they were. You know, like after a while you're like, It's like, especially like you get a little bit away from something, you're like, oh, I was being groomed. Awesome, you know?
Yeah.
It makes me laugh too, because when I look back at that era, I don't have a ton of pictures because film was expensive, and it's like all the pictures are not cute. And I just feel so happy for girls today. I mean, social media kind of sucks, but at least you can take cute pictures of yourself and look back and be like, look at that outfit of the day or whatever. And you're not just like sticking your tongue out and being a weirdo because you're just trying to be goofy for, you know, this one picture you're going to get to take.
Right.
Anyway, so obviously we didn't cover much of 1999, but it felt good to scratch the surface a little bit. Yeah. I like
this. I think this will be a good series.
Yeah, there's a lot of years to get through that we've been alive. 43 to be exact. So
goodness, I am coming up on 44.
I know. It's a new era.
Weird.
Mid-40s. Hey. I'm so sorry.
I'm tired.
If you're enjoying the podcast and would like to support the show, you can share episodes with your friends and family, follow us on Instagram at the Geriatric Millennials, or leave us a positive review and rating, all which help us to grow. Our theme music was created by the Finley Ghost. Check out their latest album now. Thank you so much.